is WABX, and would you gentlemen each say casual hello or something like that? Let me know if the...
Good morning, world.
Okay, that one's working.
Hello, everybody.
Don, we have a reading from you, but I would like you to maybe move the microphone a little closer and project as if you were... Yeah, you can move it right up to the edge of the table and then project rather strongly. Yes. Our guests in the studio today are Roger Glover of Rainbow, Don AIREY.
Both standing on their heads right now.
Indeed. Bassist and keyboardist. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliment.
Started out with one night at the Royal Oak Theater, and now it's 3. Tonight's going to be my show. I want to get down there and see you play this evening.
Oh, you're coming tonight, are you?
Absolutely.
Oh, in that case, we might cancel.
Don't say that, please.
Okay.
The fans are rather raucous, I understand, and that it was quite a wild night last night. Is this true?
It was a very good night, yeah. Good audience.
Wonderful.
Enjoyed it.
Listen, I have to deal with something. We'll get the one negative thing that came down last night, and I want you to deal with this on the air in front of all the folks. I had a couple of people called up, and they were very upset that the set wasn't longer. They said they only did one encore. Now, what's behind all that? You want to talk about that or no?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it, Don?
Well, we did about an hour and a half, actually.
I think that's reasonable.
We do 2 encores. I mean, it's not just one tune. It's actually 3 tunes that we do. And maybe just probably seems, oh, they only did 1 encore when in fact we probably did about 15 minutes.
There's another thing here. There'll always be people that say we didn't play long enough, no matter how long we play.
Yes.
And the other thing to consider is that when we did one encore, but there are always other things going on, like amplifiers breaking up and people getting headaches and stuff. Now, Richie's been a bit sick the last week. And it's possible he had a real bad headache. I didn't see him after the show, but, a lot of the reason why we go on or don't go on is down to him, since, it's his band.
Mm-hmm.
So if he feels like ill or something like that and he can't go on, then there's nothing we can do about it. And we did the one encore, so I felt we did a pretty good show.
Oh, well, except for about 2 people on the phone saying they didn't play long enough. All the other calls and the reaction from the people here at the station who were able to go to the show last night were very positive. People were just raving. In fact, one guy said it's the best show he's ever seen at the Royal Oak Theater.
We really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a nice theater to play in, actually.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah, I just love it.
Good atmosphere.
And, of course, it's not too far from the station. It's a pleasant, short drive, about 15 minutes away.
Yeah, well, that's handy for you.
Who's opening the show for Rainbow tonight?
I don't know. What are they called?
Paul Pope?
Paul Pope Band.
As opposed to, let's say, Pope Paul. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I wonder if that's an intentional...
Oh, you are a wag.
I think. Well,
have you ever thought about becoming a DJ?
No. Listen, I got to ask you, do y'all live in England?
No.
You live in the eastern U.S. of A.
Well, the band is kind of split. Some live in England, some live in America.
I read somewhere that Richie lived in Connecticut.
He did for about a year. He's now moved to Long Island. I live in the New York area.
I was somehow under the impression that you had to live in Los Angeles to be successful because that's where all the big-time attorneys and managers are. But
you live in Los Angeles if you want to pretend to be successful.
Ah.
Yeah, it's a difference. Don't like Los Angeles, personally.
You don't? Is there a particular reason for that?
It's... what? Do you like it, Don?
No.
You don't like it either? It's unreal. I mean, it's too nice. The weather's too nice. The people are too good-looking. Yeah, I distrust it. I like a bit of rain and ugliness.
Well, some people say that you have to have things like that so that you appreciate the positives.
Right. Well, to me, that's what the east side of the States is. It's a bit of both.
I see.
It's still down to earth, dare I say.
Yeah,
sorry about
in quotes. Yes, I appreciate that. Roger, since you were here last, what's transpired with Rainbow? Where have your travels taken you?
Well, that particular tour, we were working with Blue Oyster Cult, and since then we left that tour, went to the dreaded Los Angeles and rehearsed a bit, and started our own headline tour, which is like smaller places, but it's a bit more satisfying. When you're in control, you're in charge, you can have your lights and sound, etc. And we did about, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 gigs on the West Coast, San Francisco, Los Angeles area. And we're gradually moving our way over to New York, pausing here in Detroit for 3 nights.
Any indications of when
so
there will
far,
be an album or anything like that?
Oh, next. Well, we've got a tour of Europe to do and a tour of Japan to do, which will take place January, February, March, something like that. And after then, we'll be going in the studios. So, but when you get the album, I don't know. Probably, summer, early summer or late summer.
82.
Several months.
Of 82.
82, yes.
Don't say that. It's been, several years now since there's been a Deep Purple, yet people are still calling for Deep Purple music.
Well, people have long memories. It's very flattering.
Well, it's not just long memories. I believe it's the music, it made an impression.
Yeah.
And, it's a lasting one.
Yeah, well, I'm glad.
Of course, of course. Don AIREY is keyboardist with Rainbow. Is this the first time around with this band, Don?
Yeah, I joined about January of this year.
What's can you fill us in on your background? Where are you from?
Oh, you mean...
I don't mean other bands. We'll get to that in a minute, but I mean, are you native
I'm from the
of
north of England, a place called Sunderland.
Sunderland?
It's like England's answer to Omaha, Nebraska.
Does that mean a farming community or?
No, it was actually it's just a small town in the north of England. I left there when I was about 18. Went to college, music college.
We did formal training.
Yeah.
I thought all English musicians went to art school. Did you go to art school?
Yeah, I did. I went to art school. I posed for a couple of years.
It's one of their best models.
I see. Anyway, this is not an industrial community, factories and so on, but more smaller countryside.
Well, you could say that.
I see. And studied formally keyboards. Is that your instrument?
Yeah, I went to
all along?
university. I studied all kinds of things. Eventually ended up studying piano, and then I kind of drifted into playing in bars and cocktail lounges, and just gradually... Actually, I met Cozy Powell about 5 years ago and joined his band.
Was that Hammer, or was that
Hammer,
before?
Yeah. That's how I actually got started. And then that band broke up. He left to join Rainbow, and I joined Coliseum.
John Heisman's band.
John Heisman's band, yeah, with Gary Moore.
Who now is pursuing a solo career. He has an album out that is quite nice. Fine guitarist. Isn't he the one?
Yeah.
Isn't he the one who was in Thin Lizzy for a brief?
That's right.
Time?
He was with Lizzie about 3 times, I think, over the years.
Each time, briefly.
Yeah, that's right.
I get it. When you were in college, did you study formal music theory, writing techniques, and so on?
Orchestration, composition.
Didn't do him any good, of course.
It hasn't, and look where it's got me.
Well, does that mean that ultimately you'll be able to use these skills, do you think, in bands like Rainbow?
I hope so.
There have been strings on Rainbow albums.
Yeah, there wasn't really time. Down to Earth was made in such a strange way that there wasn't really time for any of that. But I'm hoping on the next album that we'll branch out. Maybe do something like Cheap Trick have done on their new album.
What are you referring to?
I've just heard one, what's that track? Dream Police.
Uh-huh.
There's very interesting string writing on there.
Ah.
That kind of...
So you would feel comfortable arranging something like that? I see. You said that the album was recorded in a rather unusual fashion. What does that mean?
Well, we didn't really have a band together. There was Richie, me and Cozy, and Roger was producing. We didn't have a bass player as such.
Still don't.
And we didn't have a singer. And we were all sitting in this castle thinking, well, we've got to get a singer from somewhere. And Roger was just, more or less, was playing bass on all the tracks.
Because he was around and could play.
Yeah, yeah.
And then got invited to...
Actually, I was cheap. That was
You mean they could get you to play bass at your producer's fee?
I did it for nothing,
He made us an offer we couldn't refuse.
I see. You also, now you mentioned a castle. The album was recorded in France. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was in this castle. I forget the area. It was called the Haute Savoie, way up in the hills.
An actual castle where a king lived at one time, or a baron, or
In
something?
fact, it was built by one of the Crusaders.
Yeah, called
He
Pelly.
went-
Geezer called Pelly.
Pelly, yeah. He went on the Crusades and he was forgiven all his sins for the rest of his life.
Did he live long?
No, he was about 2 when he died.
Let's see.
Actually, it dates back to like the 11th century, and it's full of history. We found a lot of old manuscripts hanging around that dated back to the 15th century.
Oh, yeah.
Did you find any secret passageways?
No, there was one. We tried all kinds of things looking for it.
It'd been,
underground.
It had been concreted up, I think, as it was unsafe. But it was a long tunnel that led about 2 miles away to the local church. Came up in the crypt of the local church. That's all very interesting, isn't it?
Of course, of course.
Nothing to do with rock and roll whatsoever.
Let's play another tune from the Rainbow album, Down to Earth, and I want to ask you how it came to be that you were with Deep Purple, and then you were gone, and then you got back together with Richie and the new band. Is that something you want to talk about?
I became producer, not of Rainbow. I mean, a producer of a lot of other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was approached by Rainbow to produce them. And so I said yes, unhesitatingly. And it was in the course of making the album that they said, you know, we don't have a bass player, will you play on the album? So, and then they said, why don't you join the band? And it's very simple, really.
I see. Well, I was just wondering if maybe there was
They offered me about $1 million. I turned that down.
It wasn't for the money then?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I paid them.
For the opportunity. I came across a magazine called Trouser Press. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
They have an interview from Richie that goes back, I think, about a year or so, in which they said at one time there was a band that was composed of Richie and yourself, Roger, and Ian Gillan on drums, and Phil Lynott.
I know what you're referring to.
What was that
it wasn't anything to do with me or Ian Gillan. In fact, Ian Gillan was a singer, not a drummer. Now, there was one point in Deep Purple where Richie started messing around with Phil Lynott and Ian Pace, and they were thinking of maybe forming a band, but they didn't, and Richie continued with Purple.
I think I was thinking of Ian Pace.
Yeah.
Not Gillan.
But, I mean, I think they did, they went in the studio and cut a couple of sides and, you know, didn't work out.
Nothing serious.
That was one of Richie's periods of wanting to leave and form his own band. And he's been going through that, I mean, all through Purple he was thinking of leaving. When he finally did leave in 1975. 74, 75. You know, Deep Purple has never been a stable relationship. It's always like ups and downs.
Changes in personnel.
When you get, you know, strong people, strong-willed people, you invariably get friction. Any band that's, you know, decides to be creative is going to get friction.
I've often thought it would be extremely difficult to maintain a band with the same members through years of recording and touring and so on. People grow up and change and develop different interests. There's another gentleman who was involved with Deep Purple, I guess, after Richie left that band. That was Tommy Bolin.
Mm-hmm.
Tommy is of a similar reputation, I think, to Richie, at least around Detroit. He's been dead for several years, 2 or 3 years, and we still get people calling up about him. Did you know him at all?
I did know him, actually. He was a really nice guy. I mean, he was a strange guitarist in that I don't think he knew much about music, and what he played was purely feel. And to that extent, he was either brilliant or horrible. I saw him on both occasions. I've seen him brilliant and horrible. But off stage, he was a real gentleman. I really liked him a lot. He was very kind to me. He came along to, I did a show called Butterfly Ball, and he came along to that, and he was very friendly.
And too bad he's not with us.
Yeah.
Major disappointment. He was with Deep Purple. They did one album, is that correct? And then that was that.
Yeah. It was actually very difficult for Tommy Bolin stepping into Richie's shoes. I mean, I went to see them do concerts, and all the audience was like yelling for Richie. So
when I saw them, they were yelling for the Bay City Rollers. That's how bad Bolin was that night.
Too bad. Too bad. Is it like this with Richie? Wherever you travel, do people seem to not just like him, but almost adore or admire or idolize him?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, he's got a hell of a reputation. And,
amazing.
It's amazing the reaction he does get sometimes, because he doesn't seem to do anything. Some places, I mean, he'll just sort of stand there and they'll go nuts. You know,
stand there and play.
It's just what people believe is what motivates them. You know, and if they want an idol, they've got one, whether the guy likes it or not. You know.
Amazing. It's true. Roger, you said something when you first sat down that was kind of a surprise to me. Most people, when they come up here and we get to talking, they make it very plain that this is a group effort and nobody dominates, and we all share and we all contribute. And yet here you are sitting there and saying it's Richie's band.
Well, it was that way in Purple. It was very much a five-man effort. But I mean, this is obviously Richie's band. He started it, and he says what goes. You know? And I think, although the band is a very strong unit at the moment, the present Rainbow is a good band. It's a good team. It's still very much, you know, in Richie's charge. Unless we have an out-and-out mutiny, it's going to stay that way.
Okay. Tonight at the Royal Oak, what time do you play? About 9:30?
Yeah, about that.
Something like that. Okay, well, we'll be there. I want to see it. I haven't seen you guys play yet. Last time you were in town, I wasn't able to get over to the hall. And tonight, for sure.
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
I'm sure. I understand also, one of the people from the station said that little guitar flavoring from the Machine Head album, the Lazy tune. Is that something that you sneak in every once in a while just to tease people?
Well, I suppose it's a kind of tease. I mean, I think Richie found out when he started playing the riff that kids went wild. And so we do just one quick verse of it, but we don't really like to harp back to old material, because that's another band. This is a totally different band. The fact that we all have different pasts doesn't mean to say that we have to lean on them. We want to promote Rainbow now.
Of course. Well, that's the band that's happening right now. Anyway, listen. Once again, the time goes by so fast, but certainly glad you came by the studio to chat with us,
Jerry. It's always a pleasure.
Roger Glover and Don AIREY, bassist and keyboardist of Rainbow.